Good morning and welcome to day 3 of FNTV's coverage of MWC 25 here in Barcelona. I'm Steve Saunders. Today's headlines. The tense geopolitical situation put a damper on the atmos at the FIRA yesterday, with telecom execs worried about the effect of Trump's truculence on everything from supply chain to subsea cable.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Computer says kill. Nokia's stock price leapt like a salmon yesterday on news of its Miltech deal with Lockheed Martin. Where the Finns go, other vendors will follow. Not so fast, gringo. ZTE and China Mobile announce AI and IoT capabilities integrated into 5G today, extending China's lead in digital industrialization capabilities. Well, it's the third of 3 long days here at MWC 25 and the FNTV crew's all on maximum dose pharmaceutical strength amphetamines. I hope you're enjoying the new FNT theme tune by popular beat combo The Imbeciles. It's going to be a balmy Barcelona day again today with a high of 59 degrees, but windy. As always, FNTV has you covered, delivering analysis in short-form videos that get to the damn point. And today, we're bringing the dog. Well, with me now to analyse the MWC news, a very special guest, Leonard Lee. Leonard Lee, welcome to FNTV. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm a little frazzled after 2 days of this, but still enjoying it. It's been very exciting. Lots of new things going on at MWC. The industry is changing. What are you seeing?
Quite a lot, actually. I think one of the things that I'm really impressed about is how sort of subdued things are this year. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about AI, but I think there's also a lot of grounding that's happening versus last year, where I think the theme was like future first. I think it's a little bit more of like what I've been suggesting for quite some time, which is let's focus on the present before we really get too enamored with the far future, which is, I think, been characteristic of the events for the last couple of years. But I think now you feel a sense of urgency, right, to actually make things happen. And we've seen some failed hype cycles over the last couple of years.
Do you think?
And
well, over the last 40
more than
years.
that. Well, I think the last couple have been pretty severe, but I think it's kind of refreshing to see this grounding, because I think it's super important, right? We can't just constantly be looking further down the road when we're not focusing on what needs to happen in the forefront. Yeah.
So from future first to current pragmatism,
Yeah.
I have to ask you first, though, do you think there is a risk of AI going into a sort of trough of disillusionment at some point? Or
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah. One of the things I do in my own research is, I tend to not speak with executives too much. I try to spend a lot of time with the engineers, the architects, and the product teams to understand, okay, how are they actually adopting the technology? And what are the things that they're learning? Because, my research goes pretty deep, right? Start from silicon on up. And so I have some insights on, where the state of the technology is, and I try to test a lot of the product teams as well as engineers with, what are they starting to sense in terms of their encountering of these limitations. And so we're seeing a lot of that through these POCs, and we're also seeing a lot of these AI applications really struggle to get out of these POCs. And I think it's important.
Give me an example of an application which is struggling, and then maybe there's an example of one which has been successful or is becoming successful.
Yeah, and we can talk about it in the same class. And I think a lot of folks have heard about agentic AI being like sort of this next thing in this whole continuum of generative AI, right? And I think we need to clarify, agentic AI is not necessarily a new thing. The thing that's a little bit different is the generative aspect, use of LLMs. And so where we're seeing a lot of challenges is really getting these agents to be reliable, number one. And number two, figuring out how do you enable safe and, let's say, non-conflicting or intent-driven collective action, right? Because these things are supposed to talk to each other. And it's easy to say that, hey, these things will talk to each other and somehow orchestrate themselves in a way that's going to produce a consistent and a valuable output. That's not necessarily the case. It's very difficult to design that in, but we're starting to see these agents take on a very narrow role and also be encapsulated in sort of a programmatic wrapper, if you will. And now I'm getting a little techno.
No,
all
but
that
that's
stuff,
okay. But essentially, when you talk about programmatic and agentic AI,
Yeah.
It's moving into a new era, and both of those things are supposed to make carriers' lives more straightforward, I guess. Do you think that's really happening?
Well, I think it introduces a degree of complexity in order to apply a technology that's supposed to address and allow the operator to deal with more complexity. And I think that will be the case. So in the same category of AI where we're seeing challenges, there's also some success that we're starting to see. But it's in more of these practical, tactical applications of the technology that has been couched as being general, having some value as you start to figure out how do you actually architect an AI application or capability that works as carrier grade, industrial grade and such. And that ends up being a very difficult exercise and exploration. That's what these POCs are starting to unveil. And for me, as an analyst who's been talking about the challenges of technologies for better part of 2 years, it's refreshing to see, okay, now the industry is starting to go through this process of discovering what the limitations of the technologies are. And
let me ask you one last question, because we've got to wrap up, unfortunately.
Sure.
I mean, I could talk to you about all
did
of this stuff all day. How many years before AI can become part of this five nines ultra-reliable carrier tapestry of technology? It seems like it's going to be quite a while, right?
No, I don't think so. I think it's already part of it. There's some fantastic, boring AI that's making traction, and I think that those are the things that we need to focus on, not the science fiction, aspirational, weird stuff. Focus on the practical that can actually move the ball and get operators on the sort of this plateau of productivity. Because safety, reliability, those are essential to the industry.
Well, you heard it here from Leonard Lee first. It's about the new pragmatism in artificial intelligence, and I think people are going to like that, Leonard. I think they're going to smell what you're cooking and they're going to enjoy it. Yeah. Thank you from everybody here at FNTV. We'll see you later.